Hello, Amy, once again.
Hello, Joelle. I am Amy Wazork.
And I'm Joelle Claret. And
And
we are sharing here some conversations around birth and new beings coming to the planet,
mhm,
beautiful souls. And, we both have a love for that.
yes, and Joelle, you have devoted much of your passion for and concern around and very powerful intentions in creating support, creating a program to go from pregnancy to ecstasy. And yeah, these conversations we started with the birth and worked backwards. We're working backwards, aren't we?
We
So
are working backward, and I'm very glad we decided to do this way, because in the meantime, so we've been talking about Bernard Monteau and his work, and Ugren, um, OBGYN, who created a center for conscious birth, and who speaks about life in the uterus. I mean, the,
utero.
the story of the fetus a little bit, and Bernard Monteau speaks about the experience we have during birth, and also before birth, after birth, and the importance of that, because this is our connection to life, our landing in the planet. And uh, and so he did an amazing work, and he has a center where you can go and do workshops for healing trauma. And but one thing is taking me to the next one, to the next one. And in doing so, I discovered first, I heard about Claude Ambert, who talks a lot about, who also is into healing birth and before birth and all of that. Um, and she talks a lot about the twin. A lot of pregnancy start with two
Yeah.
babies, and then one of them doesn't develop. There's a lot of stories around that.
Is that the vanishing twin? Is that what we call a vanishing twin?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, I'm reading everything in French, and it's all the French people I'm connected to. So thank you for your support anytime to, bring in the right words.
Oh, yes. And that was more of a clarification. I genuinely wanted to know. I know the term, I don't know that much about it, but the vanishing twin is just that, I guess, where yeah.
That. And it's, yes, and it's, for me, it was very revealing, and it's very revealing for a lot of people. But that's just one aspect of it, and we can talk about that particular aspect another day. Today we're going to talk about conscious conception, and I will use the work of Christine Louveau. Christine Louveau, she started with Claude Ambert. She did all her personal healing work, and then she trained with her. And then, as Claude Lambert got a little older, she kind of started helping her and then took over. And then, of course, she started developing from there her own work that is called sophroanalysis. And it's basically called Your Soul is in Charge.
Ah, beautiful.
Yeah, and so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. And she works with memories, prenatal memories, birth memories, and infant memories, and all of that. It's absolutely fascinating, and she developed a whole method to heal traumas. And it's absolutely, I want to do a video just about that work because I know it's the answer. I mean, for me, it's an answer to my prayers, but I'm hearing around me, yeah, so if we were not born trauma free, what can we do about it? How can we heal, right? And for me, this is so far the most healing, the most complete healing work I've found out there.
Wow, I'm intrigued. We'll have to
Yes,
do a conversation around that.
a conversation around that, and also I want to get in touch with her and try it.
Yeah,
Let
beautiful.
you know if, you know if it works.
Yeah, yeah, keep us posted.
Yes. So yeah, I would love to talk for you to share your experience around, you know, your wish to become a mother and all the consciousness you had around bringing to the world your beautiful daughter.
I would be happy to. Thank you. As I have shared with Joelle and even your listeners, you and I share this absolute adoration of babies and the idea of being pregnant. You know, from a young age, I always say from the age of 6, and I know even before then I was enthralled. But you know, stuffing pillows under my shirt and pretending I was pregnant, and I've done that my whole life. So fast forward to, you know, I did not, as you did, have children, get married, have children from a very young age. I was fast approaching 40 and really discontented and longing for, you know, I was longing for my baby to come. And so I made the decision, even though I had, up until that time, I'd always thought I want an amazing husband for myself. I want an amazing father for my children. It really got to a point where I felt too strongly about having the experience of bringing a child into the world. And so I decided to have a baby on my own, and was more excited than I'd ever been. So excited and very much on the path of figuring out who the daddy would be, and chose to go with a sperm donor that would be open to meeting the baby someday. And while I was in the process of getting inseminated from this donor, I ran into a man that I had met 2.5 years before, whom I, you know, made my belly flip when I met him. So we reconnected, and I shared with him what I was doing, and he was he thought that was awesome and very supportive. Didn't have anything to do with him, but awesome, go for it. And we began a relationship while I was endeavoring to have a baby on my own. And because of a particular white blood count, I was advised to pause. And I secretly, happily, was thrilled to pause because I was falling in love. And after I gave the relationship plenty of time to blossom and have a foundation, you know, about a year and a bit in, I then said, okay, I have got to get back on my path. And I said to him, for you to be the father. I would love for us to be a family, but don't do me any favors. You know, if it's not right for you, it will not be right for me. So please search your soul and decide. And, you know, he asked for a certain amount of time. I gave that to him, but was really moving forward with clocking my, you know, do I go pick up the sperm donor in a few days, or who's the daddy going to be? And really, I want to say was I felt blessed with this grace during that time where I felt agendaless, if that makes sense, where I did not want to put pressure on him. I really knew it had to be his decision. I'd made my decision one way or the other. So while we dialogued a lot about it, I did not feel coercive at all. Anyway, in the 11th hour, he decided, you know, let's do this. And so, I mean, very, very mindfully, you know, all of our efforts were, were a celebration of, a calling in of, and within, you know, 3 months we were pregnant with our now 13-year-old beautiful daughter,
Beautiful,
Annie.
beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful story. And thank you for your, you know, your strength and your determination and your perseverance. And, you know,
Thank you. Excuse me.
Annie is a lucky daughter. Yes, lucky daughter. And she chose wisely.
Yeah, there's a lot we could say about that. Thank you.
Yes, no, and as a matter of fact, we all, as souls or spirits, the terms I'm using is, you know, they change like different people. So, oh my God, this is.
The bells are ringing today.
Yes, the angels are here. The archangels are present in this moment. So, as souls or spirit or higher self, or, you know, whatever you want to call that part of you that is bigger than, you know, little Joel, little Amy, this bigger part of you. And I'm going to use the term soul for matter. And but as soul, we met and we chose each other and we made a plan together before coming here. So, and then of course we come here and we forget about the plan because we get this veil, this screen that we'll talk a lot more about it and how to dissolve that screen. And so we come here and we forget. But the soul is there. I mean, it's the higher self, it's your spirit. It's there and it knows. And it takes you through life in the best ways for you to be able to walk your path, you know, all the learnings and the teachings, the lessons and everything, because life is a school. And so we already, as souls, know who are our parents. We can go visit them. We can, you know, be present when they meet. We are there from the beginning. And then we are, conception happens, and the sperm fertilize the egg, and there you go, you're one cell that divides in two cells. I mean, that's it. You are there. You as a presence. I mean, you're in spirit, but you're also in the cell from the beginning, from the first cell. You were present in that creation and you are there. And so physically with a certain level of consciousness that is really very primordial, but the soul is present too, and the soul knows and the soul sees, and the soul is present through the whole process. So from the beginning, you are, so you start your life in the belly, in the womb. I mean, that is not a womb yet. And everything that happens in that process from the beginning is part of you. We talked in the other video on how, you know, we go from, I mean, the conception would be like the Big Bang, and we go through all creation in a few days. In 8 days, we go through the whole evolution of creation in millions of years, thousands of millions of years. And so we
you had likened it to, I know we won't go into it again, but just you had likened what the little cells are going through first. They're like minerals, like and then
Yes.
the next stage of implantation, it's like the plant kingdom,
Yeah.
and then that evolution to becoming a human being, humankind.
Until we become a human being. And
Yeah.
in that whole process, we have at the same time that we go through this general, like all creation, but it's our personal experience.
Mm.
So it's our personal story of who we are becoming,
Mm.
you know? And everything that happens along this process is happening also to the, I don't, it's not even a fetus, it's not even a
Embryo? Is it embryo yet?
an embryo, it's from the first cells, from the first cells.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I wanted to talk about the importance of conscious conception, because then we can be there with this new soul from the beginning. Because what happens and what Christine Levaux talks about is that through the whole pregnancy, we are having all kinds of experience. And the thing is that if something is impacting us, we're alone. We don't have somebody or like we're going through an experience and we can, I mean, I cannot say, hey, mom, what's going on?
From the perspective of inside the womb, we are having experiences. And if the mother and those already dear to this one aren't tuned in and aware and supportive on a conscious level, then you're describing the experience of the wee one within who's alone.
Yes, there's that feeling of loneliness, and we having an experience where we don't have an explanation. So we have our own interpretation of what's happening, and then we make our conclusions, and we create beliefs. And those beliefs are going to go, are going to be in charge later on in life, when we make decision, when we respond, we have life situations and all of that. So that's why conscious conception is so important, because you start there, and then you are going to be present every day. And if you know these things, because we don't know, who told us? We didn't learn that in school. Our parents had no idea about that. It's been a sequence of discovering through different types of corporal psychoanalysis and all kinds of things like that. And the people that are been developing these methods, they are both scientists. They have both ways. They are scientists. They have a spiritual approach to things, and they have an empiric experience. They've been trying things and going there. And so the combination of science, spirit, and experience led them to develop these amazing methods. And now we have this possibility of first healing ourselves, maybe before conception, because what she says is we come to the world to learn certain lessons. It's school, it's school. So we come here to learn a certain amount of lessons. So we are going to have the situations that are going to allow us to develop the qualities, to learn the lessons, and all of that. And at the end of life, we did part of the work and maybe we didn't do the whole work. So we are leaving the body, but we are living here on the planet, in this dimension, we are living like a suitcase. That's how she puts it. And I love the idea, okay? I left this suitcase from when I come back. And so you come back next time and you pick up your suitcase, you know, with whatever was left.
The baggage.
You know, the baggage. And so, so this is all. So if we become aware of our own story before conception, because this method is taking you back to all these moments where we had very intense experiences, and we were like passive receivers of something that was happening, and it created emotions and thoughts and interpretations and beliefs. And then this is, you know, we go through life, we want to grow and become a grown-up person, and then something happens in life and it sets us back. There is a situation and we make decisions and we don't know where they're coming from. It's those things that happen, if maybe in, you know, in the belly or at birth, or, you know, being a young, can be any time, but it can be, it's good to know that it can be from conception.
Wow, yes.
And
to consider what was going on during that time, and this is where Christine Louveau and her work comes in to and the work that you're doing through the beginning with this conversation.
Yes,
where we can heal.
And yes, so this method brings you back to those places to heal, meaning to become aware of what was going on really, to understand what was going on, and kind of demystify, you know, oh, this is what was going on. Okay, now I understand. So I'm at peace with what happened. That sometimes is a big contrast. Like, you know, she was talking about a mother that was less than 3 months pregnant, I think, and she was in the supermarket and she banged against her belly against the cart. I mean, it can happen anytime, you know. You try to reach out and you boom.
Yeah.
That's nothing. I mean, nothing happened to her. I mean, I probably forgot about it a minute later, or maybe she was very, very worried about the baby, but everything was fine. For the baby, he got a big shock. Like, you know, it could be an earthquake for him.
Right. Oh.
And he had no idea what was going on.
Right.
So that communication from the beginning, just the communication can make such a big, big, big difference. You say, okay, this is what's happening. Nothing happened. I'm so sorry. I hear you. I know it must have been like huge for you, and so on and so forth. To have a clear, you know, interpretation of the situation. So yes, the more we clear our personal story, the more we're going to be free of baggage before the conception.
Beautiful. It makes so much sense. I'm thinking of moments throughout my pregnancy. I mean, I feel like I certainly did the singing to and the talking to, and my genuine joyous anticipation. And yes, you know, there are many, I'm sure, because I didn't have this depth of awareness that you are sharing. So much could have been, there was much more to be present to.
Yeah, we are, I mean, it's, you know, it's not about having done a good job or a bad job.
Yes.
It's part of our process of evolution. I wish I had known and done all these things before conception. And life probably would have been very different for my children and so on. But this is where we are at.
Yes.
And the good news is that we are growing.
Yes.
As human beings, as a human species, we are growing. We are having opportunities.
Yes.
We are having amazing opportunities every day. More, there's more spiritual growth. There's more connection to
Well, I certainly, in our conversations, have had the opportunity to practice navigating through, you know, it was my intention to be the best mom ever. And so having compassion for myself in, I did the best I could with what I had from where I was, with what I knew. And it's I think only natural to think, oh, if only, you know. However, I know that doesn't really serve and the greater good. That can intensify trauma, you know, is to beat oneself up for sure. But to trust and celebrate all of those who will get this message, who will get to go through the whole journey consciously.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, that's the idea, is to, you know, have this information available to everybody. So that creates an opportunity for the new parents, the new generations. And on the other hand, life is perfect. I mean, life is a process, and we are working. In Venezuela, I had this, my doctor was a homeopath. And he said, you know, you come with a path. And you can go this way or try to jump, or you are going to go there. You are going where you're going, whatever you do. So, and life is bringing, you know, the situations, the opportunities and everything. And it's like, it's never too late.
Yes, for sure. For sure. I have a question. I'm thinking about some dear ones who are in deep consideration around becoming parents or not, having a baby or not. And I wonder if you have any suggestions for that soul search so that they can arrive to a decision that feels very much in alignment with the destiny they truly desire.
Right. Yes. Yes. Well, the main thing is to go in and listen. You know, the more you listen, like make silence. Number one is make silence in your mind. Because then you can listen to the soul. You know, the yes, no, here, back, forth, all of that is in the mind.
Yeah.
So go, you know, listen to your breath. Listen to your breath. Connect your breath with your heart. Connect your breath with your heart. And then, you know, ask your soul. I mean, I could say use the pendulum. If you don't hear the soul, use your, um, how do you say, muscle
Muscle
testing,
testing.
things like
Muscle
that.
testing. Yeah.
Yes. And honestly, it's better if you listen to yourself and your muscle testing, and you do it yourself. You know, I could say, go ask a psychic, or go ask somebody who sees the spirits. But honestly, the best answer is going to be coming from your soul.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you get the answer from your soul, you're already in this path. Conscious parenting and conscious conception and conscious everything. And these people that are asking themselves, it's because they want to be really present. They want to really be conscious parents, conscious conceptions. So this is the kind of parents that the souls are looking for, you know, because a lot of these new souls are coming without the suitcase.
That's exciting.
Right? So they come in to co-create this new era. Like we were talking before, right now we're going through this whole process of cocooning.
Yes, cocooning.
Cocooning. So we went from caterpillar, working and eating and consuming, and now we had to stop that. Life brought us in a situation where you go in the cave like the Buddha, go inside, go reconnect, go listen, reconnect with your soul, reconnect with the planet, with our mother.
Yeah.
With our mother. I want to be a mother. What's my connection to Mother Earth? Because I'm like my parents. I have the body that my Mother Earth gave me. And I have the other part of me that came from spirit. And that combination. So what's my relation to both? What's my relation to spirit? What's my relation to the planet? And how do they come together into the heart? Because that's the union. And that's the new soul. This is so who am I looking for to meet? You know? And when you quiet the mind and start listening, you're gonna be getting signs or getting dreams, insights. And take the time to be sure.
Yeah.
I think that part also is very important. There's no rush. There's no rush in the end. At the end of the story, there's no rush. And in the meantime, you can use the time to heal your own story. And as you heal your own story, if with this process, what she explains is the healing happens guided by your soul.
Yeah.
The therapist is just a present asking questions. But this is no chatting and talking about what happened to you. There's no mind. There's connection to your soul. And then your soul is taking you places. See, we went there and this happened. So you could have this experience. And I love the way she puts it, because it also demystifies the karma thing. We come with a story. And we have a story. We brought a story from other lifetimes. And we're going to be going through all these things. And it's karma. It kind of has a thing. That's your karma. It's like almost feels like a judgment. Oh, you're not good enough, or whatever. You
Right.
you didn't do a good job, or
You have to pay for it.
now you have to pay for it. It's like, and the way she puts it, like, we went through situations, we had a response to that situation, and it's like when you go to school. It's, if it was not successful, the outcome was not successful, we're going to do it again. The trial and error, and we are spirits having a human experience. And it's not the easiest thing. It's not always easy. I mean, it's all about, it's a lot of learning all the time, learning. So compassion is very important here. Compassion is very important. And also, as we discover, we go back to those experiences and we understand how we relate to those, why it happened, what was the learning, or what was the process, or why we chose this mother and this father, and we had this kind of, the whole thing becomes clear. And as it becomes clear and understood, all the emotional, like, all these anger and fear and all these things, they vanish. Actually vanish, because there's understanding. There's, oh, this is what it is.
Beautiful. So as a listener, and as I am, and as your audience out there will be, what are our next steps? I understand that Christine Louveau's work is, you've absorbed it in the French language. Can one come to you, Joelle, to be guided through this healing in preparation for conscious conception?
Okay, so what I am doing right now, I am using the work of Feldenkrais. And the work of Feldenkrais for pregnancy is absolutely fantastic. Why is that? It's because every trauma, every stories we have, intense stories we have, are encrypted somewhere in our body. And holding something is, kind of was a protection at the time. And we kept it like that because we basically didn't want to feel that anymore. So we kind of disappear it under the rug, and now we don't see it, we're not connected. So, but it's holding a piece of us somewhere. And it's in the body, and it's in the energy. So what Feldenkrais is not going to heal your traumas and disappear your story. But Feldenkrais is going to it's an opportunity to explore yourself using movement. Movement, because life is movement. Everything that is alive is movement. So, and when there's trauma, it's a part of you that stops moving. The oxygen doesn't really get there well, the circulation and all of that. And so, and then you have to compensate. Have a permanent tension here. So another piece of me is going to be weak to compensate. So that creates like a unbalanced balance, And the main thing is that is holding a piece of us, hiding.
Hostage.
Hostage. That piece is hiding. That energy is not available. And on top of it, there's situations outside that trigger feelings over and over again. So that thing is growing. So right now, what I've been using is that movement, because these very subtle little slow movement, first because of the rhythm,
Yeah.
your mind stops.
Yeah.
You
I
know.
can attest. I
So
didn't
your
mean
mind goes down, down, down.
to.
Start listening more, and you're always in contact with your breath because your breath moves you, and
Mhm.
breath can move you in anything, any movement, right?
Mhm.
So that connection, that focus, you know, so you start listening to yourself, number one,
Mhm. Mhm.
and then you start you feeling and sensing. You feel
Mhm.
and sensing, and you're sensing in your body. Oh, this feels comfortable. Oh, this is blocking. Or this is da da da. So you get in touch with parts of you that
Mhm.
you're not in touch usually every day.
Mhm.
You know, there's also movements that are awkward, that are
Mhm.
not habitual.
Yeah.
And so you go places where you don't go every day. And
Mhm.
that puts you in touch with parts of you physically. And that can trigger feelings. But because we are here listening, you know, the teacher is going to say, you know, and how do you feel? And listen to what you feel and observe, be the observer.
Mhm. Mhm.
Are you feeling this? And what thoughts does that bring?
Mhm.
You know? So you become aware, using movement to create awareness. And as we do that, we release.
Mhm.
We release some of those holdings, whatever you're ready to release,
Mhm.
you can let go
Mhm.
because you're exploring new ways to be in yourself
Mhm.
that are closer to your real nature, your
Right.
innate being.
Innate.
Yes. And
Yeah.
then, you know, at the end of the class, we go back to sitting and then standing because we do most of those exploration in lying down. So the nervous system doesn't have to work with gravity and all of that. So it's easier to be aware, to be available, right? So, but
Yeah.
at the end, we integrate. We go
Mhm.
sitting and we reconnect with what we were exploring in sitting, and then we go to standing and we reconnect with that
Mhm.
in standing and then in walking. And so you have a connection, a little bit more of yourself.
Mhm. Mhm.
And the interesting thing is that when life situations triggers that whatever trauma or old experience,
Mhm.
you go back to your old pattern, doesn't feel comfortable at all. You're
It's
like, oh,
not.
what am I doing? Oh, I don't want this anymore, you know?
That's really,
Mhm.
I love it. And I haven't thought of it that way. I of course, have had profound experiences in your Feldenkrais classes. The subtlety and simplicity, and yet it really is profound. And I like this idea that once released, because our patterns have such a strong gravitational pull, and we gravitate toward what is familiar, what is known. And so with the Feldenkrais work, it's like we are undoing the pattern that makes it so familiar and feel normal, and we're not even conscious to it, but by shifting that, then it no longer feels like home.
Exactly. And that's the point, what you said, we're not conscious.
Mm-hmm.
All these things are there,
Mm-hmm.
and they are there in those holdings and hidings
Mm-hmm.
that we are not in touch with them.
Yeah.
That's the purpose of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was created at some point,
Mm-hmm.
and then it stayed like that. So that's the habitual.
Yeah. Yeah.
And part of this process of exploring yourself through movement is to go into unhabitual.
Mm-hmm.
We can say, oh, compare to, compare this to that. Oh, this is what's habitual. This is not. Like simple things like cross your fingers. Oh, you're going to go like that. How about you do it the unhabitual way?
Uh-huh.
Oh, how does that feel? Oh, so that attracts your attention,
Yeah.
right? So your presence,
Uh-huh.
you're more present to yourself. And
Uh-huh.
then, oh, how about you do this way?
Uh-huh.
Oh my God. And oh my God. And it's always about expanding. So the more you expand, the more you release. So
Uh-huh.
holding is holding you back.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
You release that holding and more of you is here.
Yeah.
More of you. So I'm not saying, oh, we went back to the story.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Like I don't know what happened yet.
Uh-huh.
But it's a step closer to really releasing first, because if you go back to the habitual, and sometimes right away, some things you let go, I mean, you're released, go
Uh-huh.
back there and right away you're like, no, I cannot breathe. It's, it was holding my breath. When I started my first workshop with Feldenkrais, at the end of the workshop, my breast was open, my chest had opened that much,
Wow.
like that much. It was insane. And I know exactly because I was getting a dress done, a top done, and we did the measurements before the workshop. It was a 10-day workshop. I went back after the workshop and she had to redo the whole thing. She's like, what have you been doing? This is not yours.
Wow.
So yes, so we get into, and you may feel like crying, or you may feel
Uh-huh.
like laughing, or
Uh-huh.
go through emotions, and it's basically okay, that was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is something that, when for pregnant women, is for pregnant couples,
Uh-huh.
see, because one part of this work is releasing a lot of stories around sexuality also.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
It does a lot, it goes deep.
Uh-huh.
So I highly recommend that mother and father, I mean the two partners, do the classes together.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
it's going to
Beautiful.
it's going to create an intimacy between them. It's going to create a sensitivity. Oh, I know how you feel.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Because I know how I feel,
Uh-huh.
I can know how you feel.
Uh-huh.
And you start reading the person also.
You
It's
start wedding the person?
being able to read the person. Like we would do in the training, we would walk behind somebody, and not that the person knew. We go and try to walk the same way and get to understand,
Wow.
feel,
Yeah.
Oh wow, this is what's going on there.
Yeah.
And not even understanding how do I got that feeling, but I'm sure if I share it, so you start being able to read the person, and to have more intimacy.
Beautiful.
Yes, it's great for, yes. So that's one thing for now, and obviously I'm gonna go deeper with this new discovery, and connect and see what, maybe she's training people a lot. So I'm going to see if there's somebody in the States, or somebody that speaks English, maybe in Europe, in UK, or in Australia, I don't know, but somebody who speaks English. I'm going to see if it's possible to do it online.
Good.
In which case I will do it. And yes, but it's a lot of hope.
Yes, yes, that
Doors
it
are
is.
opening.
That it is. What a world it would be if we were all consciously conceived and tended to while in the womb in a way with such presence and activating the love.
Yes, and so many things, you know. Now I'm thinking back, like there's one thing that can happen easily at the beginning of pregnancy is that you can have bleeding after a month or 2 months or 3 months. Who knows if that's not the twin baby?
Ah, right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mm.
So if we are more in touch, more connected, and both connected to Mother Earth and connected to Spirit, both. Mother Earth brings in the instinct, and the other side is the intuition. We have both.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Joelle.
My pleasure. I hope it helps a little bit. And yes, if you have questions or want to know more about anything around conception, you can reach me at joelle.claret@gmail.com. I hope I'll be able to write that down under the video. And my phone number is 310-905-0125. I also use the water, the therapy in the water that really brings you inside and out of time and space and gravity and mind and all of that. So really back to the essence.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Amy, for sharing this.
Thank you, Joelle. It's a pleasure to be here with you and your followers.
Yes. Well,
until the next time. Yes, go ahead.
the next time.
Yeah.
Yes.